Hi, everybody. It's Amy. I'm Amy, and this is Art Conspiracy. Welcome, as always. This video is a follow-up to my simplified figure drawing basic proportion video. I realized that I taught you how to draw a person standing from the front, but I didn't show you how to do it from the side or from the back, which is pretty important because people don't always just stand in front of you. Anyway, so let's get to the drawing. If you haven't watched that first video, you probably really should before you watch this one, because the first part of this is a little bit of a review, but you're going to need that to have watched that first one. So let me switch gears and get to work. Okay. All right. So as I said in the first one, whatever size your figure is, you're going to say top of the head, bottom of the feet, the center is the pelvis. And I put that little V in there. Now, after all these years of drawing, I don't have to necessarily put the V in, but you should do it in the beginning for sure, just to remind yourself that all of this is torso and head, and all of this is leg. Okay, so again, I'm going to go fast because this is a review. So we got head. You know what? I'm going to move my light. There we go. So my shadow's not in the way. Okay, head, shoulder, waist 2/3 down, shoulders to the pelvis is kind of an hourglass shape. And then again, halfway from here to here are the knees. Remember that the femur comes down at an angle. That's really important. Otherwise, your people look bow-legged. Not good. And then here, wada wam, bada boom, ankles. I'm working joint to joint. And while I'm here, I actually want to show you something else that I didn't tell you on the first video that's very important. Okay. And that is this. As you're working joint to joint, I want you to think of it this way. You're working large, small, wide to narrow, from the shoulder to the elbow. And then you're going to go down to the wrist, and you're going to go wide, again, at the elbow to narrow. I'm exaggerating it. It looks like a cuff, but you're going to smooth this out. But your elbow joint is actually quite fat. Okay, so just trust me on this. So shoulder is wide, go into the joint, wide to narrow. Wrist, you're going to go from the elbow wide to narrow. And that's your basic shape. And then you kind of smooth it out. And it looks pretty darn good, okay? Same with up here. Here's the pelvis. Remember, this part looks a little bit like home plate on a baseball diamond. With a woman, it's more of a, curve like that. Anyway, wide to narrow, then go wide again, like she's got boots on, to narrow. But then you curve this line. Look at that. You curve it, and it looks beautiful and very natural. And then you have a muscle here. But this is simplified drawing, so we're not going to worry about this too much in terms of the curves of the muscle. We're working joint to joint, location, shape, and size. Okay, again, wide to narrow, wide to narrow, and then you can smooth that out. Okay, there's your standing figure. That was from video 1. Okay, so let's say you want to go on the side. You want this figure to be standing sideways. Same proportions. I don't have to even look at anything or think about it. I know where my center is. I can use her, sort of jump start, or I can go back and say, where's the middle? Now, draw that V anyway. Draw the V that represents the pelvis, even though you won't see it that way from this angle. Draw it just, again, to remind yourself that all this is leg. Okay, then you have the head. And look what I just did. I drew it a little forward of the center line. And I'm just sort of exaggerating the fact that your head, if you're looking at me in this little window, your head comes forward of your torso a little bit. Most people, even with great posture, don't have a head that's straight up. So some people really lean forward, especially when they get older. Anyway, bring that head. And then instead of the shoulder line, you're going to have the shoulder, just the curve of the shoulder. See, this person's already looking sideways. Okay, so just indicate the shoulder. And then this part of the body is sort of like a kidney bean. You see that? Super, super simple. Kidney bean. And if it's a woman, you can add breasts, okay? Pectorials, whatever, but it's a kidney bean. Here's the butt, okay? And that's where the pelvis is right there. Okay, so that's great. So then again, the knees are still halfway. There you go, whoop. And then you can draw that coming down. Here's that knee. And from this angle, your foot's probably a triangle this way. Okay, and then you got a standing, and then you got the measurements, so you can play with what this leg is doing. Okay, maybe it's stepping up on the stairs. And again, this is a person with really great posture, which is great. The elbows relate to the waist. Here's the waist, right? It's about 2/3 down from the shoulder. And so that's where the arm, the elbow of the arm is going to be. And then the forearm is the same size. And then your hand is going to be right there. And it hits mid-thigh. I don't know if I told you that in the other video, right here, mid-thigh, if it's all the way extended, okay? So then you can also, because you know this, you could make this arm going back this way. Same, you know how big it's supposed to be. Then maybe it's on the hip, okay? So that's your basic side angle. Again, top, middle, do the V anyway, even though you're not going to see it. And then instead, do your head, instead of this shoulder line, just draw a little curve. That's the shoulder. But then don't draw the arm right away. Just draw the little kidney bean shape. That's your torso. Then your knees are in the same place. Bada boom, bada bang. You got that. Okay, now the back. Again, here's the top, here's the bottom. It's good practice to find the middle, but you can also use this method where you're going right across from what you already drew. The only problem with this is if for some reason you're off your center line and you repeat that, you might get more off as you go along. So it's good to check again and say, am I in the center? Okay, even though it's the back, again, I'm going to draw the little pelvis as though it's frontal. So even, look how, you got crooked, going downhill. Okay, so here's the head. Shoulders. Now, this is kind of cool because in the standing figure in the front, this neck comes down and that trapezius muscle is behind the neck. See that? But when it's in the back of the head, of course, the neck is going to go down and the shoulders come in front of the neck. And then sometimes you even have some face here showing up. See that? Wow. Okay, it depends on what your head is doing, if he's looking straight or turned or looking down. But you got it. Here's the waist. This is kind of looking like a guy. I'm going to go with that. Big shoulders. Got your torso. And then instead of the pelvis, you're basically going to see the buttocks or the butt, which is more friendly. Whoops, got a couple extra lines here. Knees. Right? Yeah, we got this. Ankles, back of the ankle, just looks like a loop, and then the foot is in the front, like that. It's your foot in perspective. Ankle bone, the Achilles heel, put that in there, and then the foot will be in the front of it. And then you do the arms, which are the smaller part. So you know it's related to the waist. So there you go, wide to narrow, wide to narrow, wide to narrow, wide to narrow, and then curve it, then make it look more natural. And then always separate the hand into two sections. Back of the knee is kind of nice too. I usually draw like a little U shape here. That's actually the front of the knee too, but there's a line, there's a crease here. So that's good. Okay. Like that. Yeah, just make this more of a line. Okay, there you go. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. That's a lot of information. Okay, I got other videos coming out about the head and hands, small parts, which give everybody trouble. Hands, feet, ears, noses. We're going to have a whole series on small parts. Divide and conquer, and we're going to be great. So anyway, that's it for today. It's artconspiracy.net. Don't forget the net. And I'll put the link down below in the comments. And if you have any questions or other kind of topics that you want me to address, please feel free to write me, because this is a work in progress and I'm making new videos really almost every day right now. I'm stocking up the cupboard. So be well, stay safe, and keep drawing. Okay, bye. Talk to you soon.